Auntie Faye breaks the huddle. Auntie Faye breaks the huddle.
Living life in Miami, so we talking that sports. And I'm loving them Browns. We don't care what you thought. Then we check and say door, and we root for them Ravens. Don't talk nice to me. Talk sports with me.
Don't talk nice to me. Talk sports with me. Auntie Faye breaks the huddle.
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 Auntie Faye breaks the huddle. Hey nieces and nephews, it's your girl Auntie Faye. We are back with another video. How your mama doing? How your daddy doing? How your sis doing? How everybody doing? Okay, how's everybody doing? All right, y'all. So we are back now. We're gonna get into Ryan Clark firing, and I know there were a total of 4 firing, right? They were all black, by the way. ESPN fired 4. I checked. I didn't see any Caucasian people fired. Y'all let me know in the comments if you guys know or seen anything. I didn't. Okay, but I think Ryan Clark is the one that's getting the most talk right now. I feel like because he was on ESPN the longest. Okay, he also helped them get 2 ESPY award. Am I saying ESPY or ESPY? I don't know why. ESPY. ESPY awards. I'm always messing that up. Okay, he helped them get 2 awards. Okay, now I don't know if it was about a money contract or because he is always sticking up for blacks. I don't know what it is. It's a lot that's being said, but baby, the gloves are off, honey. All types of people are coming out. Okay, all types of people are coming out to speak negatively about him and making fun of him actually being fired. Okay, so we're getting right into it because I like Ryan Clark. I like what he brings. I may not agree with everything he says, but I like him. I feel like he is who he is. He sticks to what he says and he doesn't clickbait whatsoever. And that's why I appreciate him. In the meantime, nieces and nephews, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you guys hit that post notification right so you know it's the upload from Auntie. Make sure you like the video, then hype the video. Like it first and then hype it. You get 3 hypes, so we make sure you use them on me. So first we're gonna get into Acho. Okay, I know we don't really like Acho out here, but Acho likes Ryan Clark. So let's listen to what Acho has to say about the fire. Now, this was the first clip that Acho came out and put out. Okay, very first clip. Okay, so let's listen in and you guys let me know how you guys feel about that.
All right, it's time to talk about this Ryan Clark firing. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. Number one, objectively, he's a good analyst. Why? He's brought NFL Live to Emmy Awards, of which they had never won before, and they likely will not win after. So I understand that fans, more than anything, we value y'all's opinions. We make the shows for y'all. But regardless of whether you think he's great or you think he's terrible.
I'm sorry, I said earlier to ESPY awards, but it was 2 Emmy awards, which is even bigger. Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize. Okay,
objectively speaking, he got the accolades to prove his greatness. With that being said, firing a man during his show that he's helped bring an Emmy award is wild. I got a story for y'all. I'm gonna hold that for the next 10 seconds. Wild. Why did they say they did it? Because they didn't want him to find out on social media. So you fire him during a show and pull him during the last 10 minutes of the segment? I digress. Story time. Last year when I got fired, if you work long enough at a job, you're gonna get fired. Last year when I got fired, they had us find out on social media. We found out on social media. More often than not, executives are cowards. Former athletes, we're used to tough information. Just tell it to us. We done been cut before, broken bones before, had surgeries before. Ryan Clark notably couldn't play a game in like Denver, Colorado because he had a disease, I think an autoimmune something. Like, bruh, we're used to tough things. Just tell us. With that being said, note for anybody that wants to get into sports television, start to create your own show so you can't be fired. Incubate yourself from being fired from an executive. Because here's the most fascinating dichotomy of everything. Once you get good, you will become so good that you become too expensive to afford. And networks can only afford so many great talent. McAfee, Stephen A. Smith, to some degree Greenberg, they're getting the big money for doing daily shows on ESPN. I'm not talking about the Sunday shows. Those game day shows, anything tethered around live events, way too much money. Everybody got money on those shows. But daily shows, if you get so good, there comes a point they can't afford you. That's the dichotomy of it all. Love, Ryan. I already text you that privately, but I'll tell you publicly as well.
Okay, I like what he said. I mean, I think he is absolutely right. Listen, at the end of the day, that's why, like, starting your own platform is so amazing. I feel like Ryan Clark is going to be fine. I mean, he does have the pivot, but compare the pivot money compared to what he was getting at ESPN is completely different, clearly, okay? I mean, they do really well on the pivot. They get a lot of views. They started the pivot at 0, remember, okay? Not like Acho over here. Speaking of Acho, we're gonna get into another video of Acho probably after this one. But yeah, Acho people must have been calling him out about buying the webpage he has. Okay, so we'll talk about that later. But he's absolutely right. That's why it's great to have your own show. Now, Cam Newton also got fired as well, but Cam Newton has had 4th and 1 forever. The pivot has, I think, been around longer. But Cam Newton was only there for a little bit. Okay, Cam Newton didn't really. He wasn't there on every single show. Stephen A actually brought Cam Newton on. I thought it was interesting how Stephen A went on his platform. You know, Stephen A is on ESPN and makes great money, and they're gonna always keep Stephen A because Stephen A plays that in-between phase, you know what I mean? He's like pro-Trump, but he kind of takes up for Black athletes as well, you know what I mean? So he kind of plays that fence, you know what I'm saying? So Ryan Clark was just so vocal, okay? So vocal about how he felt about everything. And I do feel like that maybe rubbed executives the wrong way. If you know what I'm saying, like I just feel like that, you know what I mean? But I can appreciate Ryan Clark for just being who he is and sticking to his guns no matter what. Okay, there's a lot of Peach people online that says that he race baits a lot. I don't think he race baits. I think he calls it out how he sees it. Like if this was a white athlete, we wouldn't be saying this. If this was a Black athlete, you guys keep saying this. And he calls things out as he sees it. And I think that's a lot of problem. That's a problem for a lot of people as far as the people with the money, the people who pay you and so, okay? Now, another person who got fired is Bart Scott, which I didn't care for. I really don't care for Bart Scott. I made a video about Bart Scott speaking down on Lamar Jackson because, and it's funny because I said in that video, Bart Scott is like a coon in a pot. Like he, you know, all these Peach people be around him and he says all the right things for them, right? He says all the right things to make them feel good and they still let go of his ass anyway. So I thought that was hilarious, okay? Okay, so we're gonna continue on. Now I want y'all to listen to this clip right quick. This guy right here, I don't recall his name, but I promise you guys, on his day off, he probably calls Black people every N-word in the book. That's just how I feel, right? He thinks it's funny. Okay, we're gonna listen to what he has to say. Yeah, he just doesn't sit right with me. This one too, the other guy too, they both are just pro anti-Black. That's how I see them. Okay, now Stephen A, like I said, Stephen A went on his platform and actually said something about Ryan Clark because Stephen A loves Ryan Clark and did not want Ryan Clark to get fired. And then this bald head guy right here did a reply to Stephen A, basically laughing at Stephen A feeling bad for Ryan Clark. I do think it's fascinating that Stephen A did not really make a video for Cam Newton getting let go. And I really think that's because Cam Newton had Jason Whitlock on his show and Jason Whitlock was speaking poorly about Stephen A. And so you already could tell the relationship was a little off after that, right? Okay, so let's let this play and I want y'all listening to the conversation. Very disgusting conversation, by the way.
Why do you think Clark was or is going to be among those laid off?
He became a headache for the network, Dan. I mean, pure and simple. I mean, the first thing was last time Clark was in contract negotiations in 2024, he aired the dirty laundry. He talked about how ESPN wasn't valuing him enough. ESPN doesn't take kindly to that. I think they were afraid in 2024 to let...
I'm going to pause that right quick, and here's why. When you're this color, certain things you cannot do, okay? Now, did Ryan Clark do that? Yes, he did. But you know who else did that worse? Pat McAfee. I like Pat. I'm not here to talk bad about Pat at all. I watch his show, okay? I don't watch the college game day show unless he's talking about CU. But I watch his show. I like Pat's show, right? Pat is not racist or none of that, so I'm not here to do anything. But Pat has called out ESPN. Pat has called the owner of ESPN, the CEO of ESPN, CFO of ESPN, okay? He has called them every name in the book, okay? Cuss words, okay? On his live show, okay? Pat don't give a fuck. Right? But Pat can't do that because Pat's show is bringing in the numbers. Remember, Pat started his show, I think, on YouTube. Okay. And they were doing so good. Remember, like Pat used to be fat. You know, he was a kicker for the Colts, you know, then he started his channel. It was in a smaller space. He has the same guys he's had with them. Those are like his buddies on there. Really cool show. Pat grew, right? Pat grew because he was honest. He was there. He was drinking beer, talking shit. A lot of people was able to relate to Pat's show because it just looked like a whole bunch of frat boys having sports conversation, right? And ESPN loved that, right? Pat brings them a lot of money. Okay, Pat is making a lot of money, right? But Pat also is not about that shit, okay? Pat is gonna call you out. He don't care ESPN. He don't care none of that, okay? I don't like to say it like that, but it's the truth. Pat McPhee has his own bigger show. Pat McPhee is in his own place, right? And Pat McPhee makes them a lot of money. Now, although Ryan Clark has helped them win a Emmy Award, of course, right? Let me not say Ryan Clark. People come to watch Ryan Clark and Stephen A. They like to see that whole dynamic, right? But at the end of the day, Pat McPhee does make them more money.
We're afraid in 2024 to let him go because the climate was a little bit different. But I thought that Ryan Clark, when he signed that deal in 2024, especially after he ripped ESPN publicly, that would be his last contract either way. Turns out that was true. But I also think the Kyron Lacey stuff, Dan, I mean, look, Clark can, get up there and spout all his left-wing talking points and talk about racism and all that, and ESPN eats that stuff up. But once you start slandering an entire police department in a state, you got a problem. And he just started creating more headaches than he was worth. And with the Super Bowl coming up this year, I think the timing is significant. I think it matters that they pulled him off the air before letting him play out this football season, because it's my understanding that that's what he had left on his contract was this football season, and he would have been part of the Super Bowl coverage. I think they didn't want him on a Super Bowl coverage, especially given that he's a loose cannon and could have said anything between now and then that might have drawn focus away from, what amounts to ESPN's biggest broadcast of all time. So I think that's why, Dan.
Okay, so the bald head guy name is Dan, okay? Okay, so didn't I tell y'all the whole, left-wing talk? You know what I mean? I'm telling you, but, okay, for example, even Pat, right? Although I like Pat, does Pat not talk about the racism stuff that's going on? Pat don't talk about it. Pat does not talk about it. Nobody on his team talks about it. However, Pat don't let nobody disrespect nobody on his team. He does have black people on his team, and he doesn't let anyone disrespect them at all. But Pat doesn't talk outside of that, right? I can't explain the whole Pat dynamic. I just know I like Pat. I like Pat because he just don't give a fuck. And that's the honest truth, okay?
You were an expert at being fired. Wow. Your reaction to Ryan Clark being let go.
Executives are cowards. That is my reaction. Executives are cowards. It is one thing to fire a man. If you work long enough, you will get fired regardless of your profession. But to fire a man that helped bring a show its very first Emmy Award in the midst of that show is cowardly. On NFL Live, a show that's for the last 2 years won back-to-back Emmy Awards for best daily sports.
Let me say one thing, right? This is my first time hearing this clip right here, right? This lets me know that he writes his shit before he even says it. Because the very first clip I showed you guys, he was at home. This is before he even got to this, okay? And I just think it's funny how he started off saying the same exact thing. Like, that to me is so weird to write your response, because the first clip, I'm thinking his response is coming from a genuine, you know how you see something, you go online and you talk about it. It seems like he wrote it out first and then said it, and now it sounds like he's saying the same exact thing. But I'm gonna let this continue because Shady also speaks on this. I just think that's really funny. Okay, let me let this go.
show. Y'all know how many daily sports shows there are in the world, many of which you watch, and even more that you don't watch. And they have objectively been voted on 2 years straight for having the best one. And you're going to fire an anchor of that show, not just an anchor of that show. Y'all just now about to have a Super Bowl. That's why you got Troy Aikman. That's why you came out here from Fox and you got our talent. And Ryan Clark is on that Monday night show. Fire that man. So to me, it is cowardly to fire a man in the midst of him working for a show that he has built up to Emmy level and Emmy quality. I fully understand firing somebody. You got to fire somebody, you got to fire somebody. Bet we all going to get fired. At least I have. I'll speak for me. I can't speak for nobody else. You get fired. But it's another thing to fire somebody in the midst of a show. To me, that's repulsive. It's cowardly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, people get fired every day. But what I don't understand is, all these other opportunities to fire Ryan Clark. Why are you firing while he was on air? I don't understand that. At the old show, I heard that, Acho and his homies got fired on air. I wasn't there. I knew it was about to happen. Yeah, what's about to happen? Okay, I will not be.
It's a true story. It's a true story.
But that's true story. But my thing is just like, and I don't have anything said bad about ESPN because I don't know all the particulars of what really happened. But I do know this, is that Ryan Clark is really, really good on TV, right? And I think a lot of viewership, they love to see Ryan Clark. He's one of them guys, he's an ex-player that speaks and gives you the insight of what a player goes through. So I just don't understand why they fired him while he was on air. That's kind of wild to me. I'm sure that we'll get the real story eventually soon because he'll speak his piece and let everyone know what really happened.
Yeah, no, firing someone while they're in the middle of a workday, a little crazy, especially when they're doing their job to the best of their ability. It does seem crazy.
Let me provide some nuance. Again, we're going ha kiki. That's the show. I'm gonna laugh at myself. Y'all can laugh at me in the chat. Throw tomatoes. Do all the things. Last year, true story.
I'm going to stop it there because I don't want to hear his last year true story. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. Okay, so this is what Stephen A. had to say, okay? I'm going to show y'all this, and I'm going to show y'all the reaction that Dan made to a Stephen A., okay? We're not going to stay long on this. I just want y'all to see how they treat them, okay? Let's let it rock.
Because I'm not going to lie, I'm getting a little pissed off looking at stuff on social media. I had to stop looking at it at people that are taking an opportunity to celebrate this man being gone. Ryan Clark saved his money. Ryan Clark's got a family. Ryan Clark is rife with a level of intellect and intelligence, and he's going to be fine. And he has other opportunities, and he's doing well on this podcast. My point is, what the hell are people doing celebrating somebody losing their job? But I'm looking at a bunch of people on social media, and this is where we get into a really, really deeper conversation. Somebody losing their job, how is that a cause for celebration? How in today's world, when even the specter or the potential of somebody being in a position where their ability to take care of house and home and pay their bills and provide for their family is being compromised, a cause for celebration? When that happened, you see how jacked up this world is? I sit here this morning, or this afternoon rather, it's not a pleasant feeling. Knowing that Ryan Clark is going to be fine, it's still not a pleasant feeling.
Okay, I'm not gonna let the whole thing play. I like Stephen A. sometimes, but I do feel like Stephen A. is for sure a hypocrite because I mean, the Trump that you love so much laugh at people getting fired all day. He laugh at people dying. He laugh at all types of shit. So I don't want to hear it. Okay, I'm just saying, y'all. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's get into oh boy. Now we're gonna watch a Dan. Okay, so this is Dan reacting to what Stephen A. had to say. Okay, they don't like them. Okay,
Ryan Clark, a person that I consider to be arguably
look how he
the
laughing.
best
He don't care.
NFL analyst in America, is no longer a member of ESPN. And I can't even tell y'all how much that hurts.
Not even Stephen A. Smith could save the job from Ryan Clark. Stephen A. Smith, who thinks he is the grand poobah of ESPN. He's not. What Stephen A. Smith is a guy that had leverage, used his leverage, used racism, and forced ESPN's hand to pay him $20 million. That's it. He has no influence within the company. He has no suck whatsoever. And no matter what he tries to tell you, the face of ESPN obviously is Pat McAfee. Stephen A. Smith wants the way cleared. And to him being the best analyst at ESPN, you can't name one thing that he actually analyzed that was interesting or that he taught or that he actually entertained. You can name numerous things that he said that were racially wrong.
All right, so I don't know why I say Pat last name wrong. I'm not good with names, y'all. If on purpose, if y'all notice when I talk about Lima, although I know it's Lima, I'll still say Lima because I don't care. But I like Pat, so Pat McAfee, because I've been saying Pat McAfee. But yeah, so he said the same thing I said. Pat McAfee is the biggest person on ESPN. So is Stephen A. Smith. ESPN is not gonna part ways ever with Pat McAfee or Stephen A. Smith. It is what it is. It's just not gonna happen. Everybody can come and go. I just think it's interesting. There's a lady on ESPN who I feel brings nothing to the table. I'm sorry, y'all. She barely has a show, but they're probably paying her like so little money that they don't need to let her go. It's the Asian lady named Ming Lee or something. Ming, I don't know, but I don't know why she's still on there. I just don't get it. But y'all let me know how you guys feel about this. Ryan Clark has responded. He said he's good. You know, like I'm hoping another Fox maybe gives him a job. I'm just hoping, and I'm hoping that everyone rally behind him and they start supporting the pivot even more. Okay, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you guys see that post. Don't care about your numbers. Upload from Auntie. And don't forget, never don't talk nice to me. Talk sports
Auntie
with me. Ciao.
Faye, brace the huddle.